श्रीकृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः। दशकम् 81 नरकासुरवधवर्णनम्। Stanza 1. स्निग्धां मुग्धां सततमपि तां लालयन् सत्यभामां याथो भूयः सह खलु तया याज्ञसेनी विवाहं पार्थप्रीत्यै पुनरपि मनागास्थितो हस्तिपुर्यां शक्रप्रस्थं पुरमपि विभो संविधायागतो भूः. So in the last chapter, we saw how Krishna had got married to Satyabhama. In the beginning here, so Bhattacharya is saying, Lalayantam Snigdham Mugdam Satyabhama. So Krishna is spending his time with the Snigdham, loving, and Mugdam, beautiful Satyabhama. That's happening. They then get a news and then they decide to go. Yato Bhuyaha, you then went, Saha Khalutaya, along with Satyabhama, to Yajñaseni Vivaham. So Yajñaseni is referring to the daughter of Yajñasena. Just like how Vasudeva's son is Vasudeva, similarly Yajñasena's daughter is Yajñaseni. This is referring to Draupadi here. So the news of the marriage of Pandavas to Draupadi, Krishna also comes to hear about it. And when that happens, then what Dhritarashtra at that point is little disappointed because his son Duryodhana and other sons could not win Draupadi. However, he then made arrangements to welcome Pandavas and Draupadi back, and he consults with Bhishma and Dronacharya, and they all decide that maybe they should give half the kingdom to Pandavas so they can actually keep everybody happy. And so the Pandavas actually end up coming back to Hastinapur. So that's when Krishna also now goes to Hastinapur along with Satyabhama. Then Partha Pritye, Partha is referring to Arjuna here. So because Arjuna is much more closer to Krishna, Krishna and Pandavas, they're all cousins. However, Krishna and Arjuna, because of Naranarayana relationship, and they're also of this approximately the same age. So for his happiness, you stayed there for some more time. Manakastitaha, you extended your stay in Hastipuryam. You stayed in Hastinapur. And then the last line here, Bhattacharya is pretty much summarizing that entire forming of Indraprastha, where he says, also, O Lord Vibho, you helped find Samvidaya Shakraprastham. So Shakraprastham is the city of Indra, which is Indraprastha. So you also helped found that, and then Agataha, then you ended up coming back to Dwaraka. So this backstory there is when Dhritarashtra gave half of the kingdom or a little portion of the kingdom to the Pandavas, and the Pandavas then asked Krishna to help set up that city. The half of the kingdom that was given was on a piece of land called Khandava Prastha, which is because it is surrounded by a forest called Khandava. And this was it's not necessarily a forest, it is also a very infertile land actually. It's not a forest, it's more infertile land. That was inhabited by snakes and everything, and that was because of a curse from Lord Indra. And so what Krishna then suggests to Arjuna is to pray to Agni, and that's how Arjuna gets Gandiva, the powerful bow, and with that he fights with Indra. And once that happens, then Indra is then removing the curse out of that Khandava Prastha, and that land gets fertile, and Krishna then calls on Vishwakarma, who's an architect, to help Pandavas construct Indraprastha. So this is the palace, which is very famous for its grandeur and all the illusions. So the floor of the palace, it looked as if it was built with illusions, but it is the technique they used. It was very difficult to predict whether it's a floor or a water and vice versa. And it was, had precious stones and everything. So all of that happens and Indraprastha is built. And once that Indraprastha is built, Krishna then returns back to Dwaraka. Stanza 2. Bhadram bhadram bhavadavarajam kaurave natyamana twadvachata mahrita kuhana maskari shakrasunuhu tatra kruddham balamanunayenne प्रत्यगास्तेन सार्धं शक्रप्रस्थं प्रियसखमुदे Satyabhama Sahayah. So in this, the marriage of Arjuna to Subhadra is condensed here. So Bhavada Varajam, so your younger sister, Bhadram. double emphasis here. So the virtuous one, and su, adding the prefix su before that makes it like a even better, like Subhadram is like even good on top of that. So the virtuous Subhadra here. Kauravena Arthyamana. So Duryodhana had sought the hand of Subhadra in marriage because Duryodhana was much more closer to Balarama, and Subhadra was Balarama's direct sister, Krishna's cousin. And so they had actually had an arrangement that Duryodhana would marry her. However, Shakra Sunuhu is referring to the son of Indra, which was Arjuna. So Arjuna was born with the blessings of Indra. This Arjuna, Kuhana Maskari, he came in as a false sannyasi. So again, there's a long story here which we won't get into, but just a condensed version. When after the marriage with Draupadi, the Pandavas had an arrangement that each of the brother they would take turn to then be with Draupadi for that 1 year, and Arjuna had to break that rule once, when he had to actually step into the room to grab his bow to go protect a farmer or something. So because he violated the rules of the wife sharing that they had, he had to go on a 12-year long Tirtha Yatra. So as part of that, he went to the south and then he met a lot of people. But eventually, he ended up coming back to Dwaraka because he was very interested in marrying Subhadra as well. So he comes there under the pretext of meeting Krishna. However, he comes as like a sannyasi, as if he's a follower of Lord Shiva, and he enters the city. No one recognizes him. Krishna, however, knows Arjuna is here and why he has come and the exact purpose. And Krishna knows that the biggest obstacle to Arjuna and Subhadra marriage was Balarama. So Krishna then proposes a solution saying, hey, I will arrange for you to meet Subhadra. And if she also feels the same way that you do, then I will actually help you both run away. So Arjuna meets with Subhadra, and then eventually Krishna comes to know they both like each other, and then he then tells that one day when Subhadra goes to the Shiva temple, then you can actually go pick her up from there and then leave straight for Indraprastha. So anyway, so all that happens, and Arjuna then eventually carries her. Tam Ahrita, he carries her away, Twadvacha, because of the words that you, Krishna, then said. Of course, as a result of that, Balarama is now extremely angry and upset. So Anunayan, so Krishna goes and then pacifies Tatra Kruddham Balam, that enraged or angry Balarama. So once Arjuna then leaves and Subhadra is also now gone and they've gone to Indraprastha, Krishna again now, Pratyaha, you also go with them to Shakraprastham, to Indraprastha, Priya Sakhamude, along with your best friend or your dear buddy Arjuna, Satyabhama Sahayaha, along with Satyabhama. So they go along, they all go again to Indraprastha here. Stanza 3. Tatra क्रीडन्नपि च यमुना कूलदृष्टां गृहीत्वा तां कालिन्दीं नगरमगमः खाण्डव प्रीणिताग्निः भ्रातुत्रस्तां प्रणयविवशां देवपैतृष्वसेहि राज्ञां मध्ये सबदिजहृषे मित्रविन्दाम् अवन्तीम्. So in this stanza, Bhattatripad is talking about two marriages which are actually happening. One is marriage between Krishna and Kalindi, and other is between Krishna and Mitravinda. So Kalindi is really the goddess of Yamuna. So this goddess of Yamuna, when Krishna was born and Vasudeva was taking him across the river, from that time the goddess of Yamuna wanted to be a part of Krishna. And Krishna also spent a lot of time in Vrindavan as well, where Yamuna was flowing. So being very attracted or having to wanting to marry Krishna, one day she approaches Krishna when Yamuna Kula Drishtam, on the banks of Yamuna when Krishna was there, and then Krishna decides to marry her. So Grihitva Tham Kalindim. So you decide to then take Kalindi as your wife, and Nagaram and then Agamaha Nagaram, and then after spending the time in all the places, Krishna then comes back to Dwaraka. The next marriage here is Deva Paitrushva Seim. I think I said it in the class last time. Paitrushva Seim is referring to father's sister's daughter. Princess of Avanti, Mitravindham. Mitravinda is the name of the daughter, and she was the princess of Avanti. And she had two brothers who ruled the kingdom. However, they were actually very friendly with Duryodhana, And so they were, of course, opposed to the idea of Mitravinda marrying Krishna, although she wanted to marry Krishna because Krishna had alliance with the Pandavas. And like it happened previously, they hoped that she would actually marry somebody from the Kauravas. However, because Mitravinda and Krishna were deeply in love with each other, when they had a Swayamvara, when Mitravinda had a Swayamvara ceremony, Krishna goes there and she chooses Krishna as her husband in that Swayamvara ceremony. However, the brothers don't like it and they end up going to fight with Krishna along with some of the Kaurava armies, and Krishna defeats them anyways and then takes Mitravinda back. So this is how Krishna then marries Mitravinda and earlier marries Kalindi. Stanza 4. Satyam gatva punarudavaho nagnajhinnandanam tam badva saptapi cha vrishavaran saptamurtir nimeshat bhadram nama pradaduratate devasantardanadyastatsodarya varada bhavata sapi paitrushmasehi. In this stanza also, Krishna has two marriages. He's marrying Satya, also known as Nagnajiti, and Bhadra. So the first one, Nagnajiti, is the name of the princess, and she is the daughter of Nagnajit. So Nagnajit Nandana. So the daughter of Nagnajit is Nagnajiti. So this Nagnajiti is said to be the incarnation of, you can say, Nila Devi or Neela Devi. I think it goes by multiple names. This Nila Devi is the third consort of Vishnu along with Sri Devi and Bhu Devi. So in the Dwapara Yuga, this Nila Devi was born on the earth as the daughter of King Nagnajita in Kosala. So this Nagnajita himself, he is the brother of Yashoda. So Yashoda is the kind of the adopted mom of Krishna to some extent, and is Yashoda's brother Nagnajita. So Krishna knew Nagnajiti that way, and the king had Nagnajita had set a condition for the marriage of his daughter, that whoever can actually come there and defeat 7 ferocious bulls, which is in the like the Jallikattu, it happens in Tamil Nadu, right? Something like that, right? They have to kind of tame the bulls and then they have to lock the horns and all that. So whoever can do that is the powerful person, and they get to marry Nagnajiti. However, multiple princes come and then they are not able to do this task, and they then head back. Krishna then comes to know of this challenge and he comes to Kosala, and Krishna approaches Nagnajit, and the king, of course, recognizing Krishna, he rises from his throne, he honors Krishna, welcomes him, and Nagnajiti is also extremely happy and joyful to see Krishna, and she prays that Krishna be her husband. However, when Krishna informs Nagnajit that he wants to marry Nagnajiti, the king says, hey, you know what, there will be no better husband for Nagnajiti than you. But however, because we have this rule, you have to play by that. So Krishna then goes into this to the arena, and here in Bhagavatam and in Narayanyam, Bhattatripada also says that he then harnesses the 7 Badva Saptapi, the 7 Vrishavaran, powerful bulls, by Saptamurtir Nimeshat, by assuming 7 different forms. So each form of Krishna is then taming one bull. So he's able to, in parallel, tame 7 bulls and get them under control. And with this, Krishna then marries Satya or Nagnajiti. The second one here is around Bhadra. So this Bhadra, as it says in the last part of the stanza, is Sapi Paitrushvaseyi. So she was your father's other sister's daughter. So in the previous stanza, Krishna already married one of his Paitrushvaseyi when he marries Mitravinda. So this is the other Paitrushvaseyi. So this Bhadra has 5 brothers, and they all, again, they had a pretty good relationship with Krishna. So there was no fighting or no combat here. And Santardhana, so that's why it says here Santardhana Adhyaha. So Santardhana and the other brothers, Bhadram Nama, of the princess by name Bhadra, then gave you to the Varada Bhavataha. Oh, bestower of boon, you got married to her, and that's how Krishna then gets married to Satya and Bhadra here. Stanza 5. Parthadhirapyakritalavanam toyamatrabilaksham laksham chitva shaparamavritah lakshmanam madrakanya ashtavevam tava samabhavan vallabhastatra madhye shushrotatvam surapatigira bhaumaduscheshtitani. So if you remember, when Arjuna married Draupadi, they had this contest where he had to look down into the water, look at the reflection of a fish which was actually moving up, and then shoot the arrow exactly at the eye of the fish. So that was first set up for Draupadi's marriage, but that's now is the trending theme for all marriages. So in this case, Lakshmanam Madrakanyam. So the princess by name Lakshmana, who is the daughter of the king of Madra. The king of Madra also sets up a similar challenge where Toya Matra Avalikshyam. So it was getting reflected in water and somebody had to then pierce. And Bhattatripad here, now being a big fan of Krishna, he says, Akrita Lavanam. This was like, it's not an easy one. Like Arjuna had done that for Draupadi, but this, even Partha Dhyerapi Akrita Lavanam. Even somebody like Arjuna also could not pierce this. It was much harder than what Arjuna had to go through. However, you, O Krishna, Chitvat Laksham, you were able to pierce that, right? Shaparam of the fish, the eye of the fish, and you were able to pierce that through the reflecting in the water alone, which was impossible for anybody else to do. And you then married Navrita Lakshmana Madrakanya. Lakshmana, who was a daughter of the king of Madra. So now with this, Krishna now in this manner, evam thava samabhavan ashtau vallabhaha. So vallabha is referring to somebody who loves you. Hari Vallabha means somebody who loves Hari. So in Lakshmi Ashtotram and all, when you say Hari Vallabha, it's referring to, oh Lakshmi Devi, you love Krishna or you love Vishnu. That's where Hari Vallabha. So here Vallabha is more generically referred to as your wives. And Samabhavan Ashtav, you got 8. So if you recall those 8, it was Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati. And then in this chapter so far, Kalindi, Mitravinda, Satya, Bhadra, and now Lakshmana. So all this happens, and Krishna is now married, has 8 wives, and they are all living happily. So between all this, Madhye, between everything is happening, and Sushrota, you then hear Surapati Gira from Indra. You get a message from Indra about Bhauma Duscheshtitani. So Bhauma is the son of Bhumi. So the son of Bhumi Devi Bhauma, who is also known as Narakasura. So Narakasura really means Asura of Naraka, Asura of hell. So really a very bad Asura. But he's also called Bhauma because he's the son of Bhumi. So about all the evil deeds that he has actually done. So what happens, it's like it says in Bhagavatam, is Bhauma goes to the heavens and he then steals the earrings or something very special jewel that belongs to Indra's mother. And Indra then therefore goes to Lord Krishna and informs him, listen, this Bhauma, he's been doing a lot of bad things and finally he's now come and he's taken all these things from me. And so you really need to step in and help. So that's how Krishna gets notified. Stanza 6. Smrita yatam pakshe pravaramadirudathvamagamo vahannanke bhamam upavanamivarati bhavanam vibindhan durgani trutita pratana shonitarasaihi puram tavat pragjyotisham akuruta shonitapuram. Smrita yatam. So smriti is to meditate or remember. So smrita yatam is when you remember, it comes. What comes? Pakship pravaram adirudaha, the divine bird Garuda, which is Krishna's vehicle here. So that comes and riding on it, adirudam on it. And then vahan anke sat bhamam. So it's not just Krishna going, but on his lap he's also carrying Satyabhama. So both of them are going. And the question of why is Satyabhama going here, we'll kind of answer it in the next stanza. That's where the real context would be. But Krishna and Satyabhama are going. And Tvam Agamaha, you both of you then go as if, and you enter the enemy's residence, which is they're going to meet Narakasura right now. And you're entering it in a very casual way, as if Upavanam Iva, as if you're just strolling in a garden. You're entering it in a very casual way. And in Bhagavatam, there's a detailed description of how the fortress of Narakasura is and how it has got multiple layers of wall, it's got wires in it, and it's got all these missiles which are there. However, Bhattacharya is just condensing it and saying Vibindhan Durgani, the entire fortification that Narakasura has, you're just completely destroying it. And that Puram, that city, which is called as Pragjyotisham, that's the name of the city, you go and completely destroy the boundaries or the fortification of it. Thrutita Pritana, you then slaughter, you then destroy the entire army, and then make that entire city into Shonitapuram. So Shonitapuram is just like a city of blood. So all the asuras and all the evil army people who are there, they're all essentially getting killed by Krishna alone. He's now able to get in and meet Narakasura. So stanza 7. Murastvam panchasyo jhaladivan madhyadudapatate sachakre chakrena pradalita shira mangshu bhavata chaturdantair dantavalapati birindhana samaram rathangena chitva narakamakaroostirna narakam. So the first person who Krishna then meets here is the asura called Mura. So Krishna is also referred to as Murari. So Mura is the name of the asura, who is one of the big generals or a very powerful general of Narakasura. And Ari is referring to enemy. So Murari is the person who is the enemy of Mura. So this demon, the description of it is Mura Pancha Asya. So he is a five-faced one. So the significance here could be that the five faces are actually referring to the five sense organs. So maybe he had no control over those five sense organs, and that's why he was the Panchamukasya. And this Mura is sleeping at the bottom of the moat. So all of these forts, they used to have this water body which is surrounding the fort, so people cannot cross easily. So he is in the bottom of that. So Jaladi Vana Madhyat. So from the middle of that ocean, which is really referring to that moat, the water body, which is like a forest. So this Mura now comes because he's hearing the sound of Krishna's Panchajanya after Krishna defeats the rest of the army. So that wakes him up, and then he comes from that middle of that ocean-like forest. However, and then there's a detailed description of that battle because it was a pretty important one, because that's how Krishna became famous as Murari. But here it's just summarized saying Sachakre Chakrena. So with your disgust, you just essentially killed Murari, and at once he died, and then you liberated him. Next, Krishna then goes in and Chaturdhantai, by the four-tusked elephant. So there were, Narakasura had these elephants, white elephants, which actually also had four tusks. So, and they're mighty elephants. So within that, Indhana Samaram, and then Narakasura is then giving a very tough and a very protracted fight. It's a long fight that is actually happening. So the context of Satyabhama coming is, there's a story, in some stories they say that Narakasura had gained a boon from Brahma that he would only die in the hands of his mother. However, in Bhagavatam, it doesn't quite say exactly that. What it says is, Narakasura whose mother is Bhumi Devi, and his mother had obtained a boon from Vishnu that her son should only die when she wishes for it. And that boon was asked because a mother generally would not wish for her son's death. So unless a situation like that comes where her mother itself is going to request it, Narakasura will never die. So because of that is why Narakasura was able to actually go and do all these atrocities with all the power he had. And then, he was called Narakasura for that reason. And he had high disregard for the demigods and the women. And that's why he had actually taken about 16,000 or 16,100 women, and he had actually kept them in captive. And when the fight was going on between Krishna and Narakasura, Krishna could have easily eliminated him. But because of the promise that was actually given, at one point when he hurls a Shakti missile towards Krishna, Krishna then falls unconscious, or pretends to, in a false manner. So this then enrages Satyabhama, who then decides that, okay, now enough is enough, and it is time to eliminate Narakasura. So that's when Krishna actually kills Narakasura. So in this, eventually, Rathangena Chitva, with your discus, with your chakram, you then end up severing Narakasura. And Naraka Makaro, to Narakasura, you made him Tirna Narakam, pass over hell. So essentially, you gave him liberation, and then Narakasura dies now. So in this, Satyabhama here, the context of Satyabhama is the Bhumi Devi's another avataram. So in this in Dwapara Yuga, Bhumi Devi isn't born as Satyabhama, so she can actually get married to Krishna, and that's the reason this context is here. Now, does this mean is Narakasura Krishna's son? I mean, it's a little bit of a technicality, right? It's quite complicated because it's different yugas and everything, so we won't get into answering that question. But anyway, so in this is how Narakasura is killed. Stanza 8. स्तुतो भूम्या राज्यं सपदि भगदत्तेस्य दनैः गजं चैकं दत्त्वा प्रजिघयितनागान् निजपुरीं खलेनाबद्धानां स्वगतमनसां षोडश पुनः सहस्राणि स्त्रीणामपि च धनराशिं च विपुलम्. So stutaha bhumya. So Bhumi Devi now comes and then praises Krishna, sings hymns to Krishna. And then to Bhagadatte, so the person called Bhagadatta, who is Asyatanaye, referring to Narakasura's son, Rajyam Dattva. So Krishna then hands over the kingdom to him. And Gajam Cha Ekam, out of the few elephants that he had, Krishna gives one elephant, and sending away all the remaining elephants and the wealth and everything that Narakasura has to Nijapurim, to your city, which is referring to Dwaraka, and Shodasha Punaha Sahasrani. So Shodasha is 16, Punaha is again, Sahasrani is 1000. So 16 again 1000, which is really referring to 16,000. So all the 16,000 women who were Abhadnanam, who were imprisoned, right, who were held hostage by Narakasura, and whose mind, Swagata Manasam, whose minds were completely devoted to you. So Krishna then rescues all those women and then brings them all back to Dwaraka as well. Stanza 9. Bhaumapahritakundhalam tadadite datum prayato dhivam shakradyirmahidas samam daitaya dyustrishu dattahriya hrutva kalpatharum rushabhipatitam jitvendramabyagamaha tattu srimadadosha idrishaiti vyakyatumeva kritaha. Bhauma Pahrita Kundalam. So the earrings which were actually stolen or taken away by Bhauma, by Narakasura, which now Krishna was able to recover once Narakasura died. So Tadadite Dhatum. So Krishna and Satyabhama now go to heaven, go to Prayata Divam, to Indra's location, and go hand it over to Aditi, who is the mother of Indra. And when that happens, Shakra, Indra, Adhyehi, and several others who are there, Mahitaha, all honor, Samam Dayitaya, honor Krishna and Satyabhama, and they stay there for a while. And here Bhattadripat says, Datta Hriya Dyustrishu. So even the women of heaven who were there with Indra were all put to shame by the beauty of Satyabhama. Bhattadripat is just comparing. After that, what happens is, then at Satyabhama's request, Krishna then takes the Parijata tree from Kalpatarum, from Indra. However, at this point, Indra then opposes that, and all the others come for a fight. And so Krishna then ends up defeating Indra and all the other demigods and brings Parijata to the capital. And it's said here that even after Indra had bowed or requested Lord Achyuta, and Bhagavatam it says, touched his feet at the tip of his crown, right, with Krishna, prayed to him and begged to Krishna to fulfill his desire of eliminating Narakasura. Even after all this happens, he then ends up fighting with Krishna over this Kalpataru, or about this Kalpavriksha. So in this, Bhattadripat says, Tattu Shri, indeed, Shri, which is referring to prosperity here, this causes madam. This prosperity indeed causes arrogance in a lot of people. And only to demonstrate this, Vyakyatum eva krita, only to demonstrate this, O Krishna, idrisha iti, you actually ended up doing this, is to kind of remove that arrogance that Indra had, that you had to kind of teach him a lesson. Stanza 10. Kalpadrum Satyabhama Bhavana Bhuvisrajan Dveshtasahasrayoshaha Swikritya Pratyagaram Bihita Bahuvapurlalayan Kelibhedaihi Ascharyan Naradalokita Vividagatihi Tatra Tatrapi Gehe Bhuya Sarvasu Kurvan Dasha Dasha Danayan Pahi Vata Layesha. Srijan Kalpadrum. So this Kalpataru tree, which was then brought in from heaven, was planted in Satyabhama Bhavan Bhuvi. So in the courtyard of Satyabhama's palace. So it is said that each of the wives of Krishna had like an individual house or an individual palace, and in Satyabhama's palace courtyard, this particular tree was kept. And then Swikritya, accepting the Dvya Ashta Sahasra. So Dvya is 2, Ashta is 8, so twice 8, 16. Sahasra, the 16,000 Yoshaha, women who were actually rescued, accepting them as wives so they can actually remain safely with Krishna. And Vihita Bahu Apuhu. So here Bhattacharya says, you then take on many forms so that Prati Agaram, in every house you can actually be there. So you can equally spending your time with each of your wife, and so Krishna is taking care of them. And Ascharyat Narada. So Narada, when he actually comes, he's really surprised because he's able to see you, Alokite, Vividha Gatihi Tatra Tatrapi Gehe. In each and every of those houses, he actually sees you engaging in various activities. And Narada is really surprised to see that. And at the end of it also, Bhuyaha Sarvasu Kurvan, giving everybody Dasha Dasha Thanayan, 10 sons each to each of those wives. Oh, such a Krishna who you married all these princes. In this case, you ended up killing Narakasura and Mura and everybody. Oh, such a Krishna, Pahi Vatalayesha. Oh, Lord of Guruvayur, please save me from all the ailments. So again, accepting the women as wives in this case is really just referring to conferring on them the Sayujya yoga, right? So just like how the various modes of bhakti are there, there's another one called a Sayujya, which is true union with the Lord, and that is kind of the reference in this case. So with this, Bhattatripad ends Dashakam 81. Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha.